What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down a good curl route versus a bad curl route. So we're going to be talking about some of the things that you don't want to do when you're running a curl. You got to snap down. So we're going to be talking about the good and bad snap downs at the top of the break and just what you guys can do to get as much separation as possible when you're running this curl against man coverage, okay? So I hope this video gives you guys some value. Hope it kind of gives you some insights on some route running tips and just things you could do to improve your game, okay? But also, fellas, if you want the best package on our website, check out that very first link in the description for our ultimate wide receiver package. What's in this package? You get a full month-long gym training program, so specific exercises for wide receivers and a step-by-step guide to improve your entire game at wide receiver. We talk about the step-by-step details of catching, blocking, route running, releases, all the above. So check out that very first link in the description, fellas. Hope we get you guys on that soon. Really help your game out. Let's get started with this video. So first things first, here we're looking at Pittman run this curl route. So this is the kind of bad example. Again, I'm not going to be too picky about it. This is a much deeper route. Like, this is a very, very deep curl where he's coming back to the ball. So it's tough to do, especially at his size. It's very tough to break into these things, but it's good for you guys to learn from so you understand why some of the times you maybe don't have as crisp of a break. So we're mainly focusing top of the route here. He does a good job off the line. Now, when we snap into a break, it is so important that you guys are dropping your hips low and not just bending at your waist. So that's a mistake that a lot of guys will make. A lot of guys will make a break where they'll step super hard, but their hips don't go anywhere. But they think that they're going somewhere because their chin will try to almost go to their knee. They'll bend at their waist rather than sink at their waist. Or not necessarily sink. I like a violent drop. I like your weight to just drop straight to the ground. But when I go like this and I drop into a break, and you see how he doesn't really necessarily get low enough, like his chest is kind of up. He just kind of drops his butt a hair. He doesn't really drop his weight. He doesn't really drop his hips. What that's going to cause a drift, or we're going to be slow at the top of the break. Reason being, when I'm running full speed like he does a great job selling vertical. He does a great job pushing vertical and actually staying in stride. But when I snap right here and I'm not low enough, I'm going to drift off this thing running full speed. Or to be able to get back down this break, I'm going to take all these choppy steps and I'm going to drift and I'm going to slow down. So it's so important that when you guys sell vertical, the thing that slows you down is this hip drop. The hip drop has got to get you low. It's got to drop you. You got to drop your weight, and you got to really be able to just sink and be violent rather than try to just run in and just maybe take a couple steps and run out. There's so many different mistakes that guys make when they snap down, and it really, really kills the timing at the top of the break. It really kills that explosion to get back to the ball, because you see when he makes this break here, when he comes off, you see how he kind of drifts off this line. He's kind of drifting towards the inside, not really able to come back to the ball. And the DB's all over this thing, right? The DB's going to be all over this route because I'm kind of drifting. I'm not actually coming straight back downhill and running this tight 45-degree angle. Something that you guys can do when you guys are running routes is that when you run breaks like this, set up like a line of 3 cones right here and have it be like a lane that you want to run through. So you really have to focus on turning this thing tight and really feel how confident you are with your break. What a lot of guys will do is they'll do it and then they'll drop low, but they won't set up these cones and they end up drifting because they'll end up popping up. You guys got to get in a low explosive position at the top of the break to be able to get in that explosive energy creation phase and then be able to shoot back to the ball and be tight. Now, what guys will do is when I set up those 3 cones like we were talking about, they'll start to slow down on the stem because they know it's a lot harder to make that tight turn running full speed because they're not confident in what? They're not confident in their hip drop. So you guys got to understand how important it is to be able to drop your hips, be violent with your hips, and get in and out of each break, okay? Let's watch the thing again, full speed. Honestly, very, very tough as a big guy to do this. It's not the easiest thing in the world when you're a tall, big receiver to drop your hips. I see a lot of those guys, they struggle with it, right? No matter what level they're at. I've seen guys that have, 20-plus offers that have come out, and they struggle with this because they're just on the bigger side, right? So it's just something that we constantly got to be able to work. We got to work that flexibility in my hips. I got to get more confident in my breaks, got to get more confident actually dropping my hips and creating that energy at the top of the route. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. So great job pushing vertical, number 1, but got to make sure that we have violent hips and actually get low and make sure that my hips are creating energy, okay? So now we're looking at this route from Jerry Jeudy, right? So one of the best at this, and Jeudy ain't a small guy, right? So it's not like he's like 5'8" and it's really easy for him to get out of breaks, right? It's not like he's, I'm not saying it's easy for Hill, but it's not like he's Tyreek Hill's size, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like it's something that he's got this crazy advantage on over Pittman, right? Pittman's obviously a big dude, so you give him a little bit of a benefit there. But when we come off, let's watch this route from Jeudy. Let's talk about how low he gets, you know what I mean? There's a clear-cut difference from this break point. And yes, this is a shorter route. And yes, a shorter route is 100% easier to run. Like a 10 back to 8-yard curl is way easier to run than like a 18 back to 15 or 15 back to 12. Way easier, right? It's 100% easier, but it's the same break point. It's the same vertical stem. It's the same pad level. It's the same speed going into the break that's going to get this DB to move and going to get this DB to bite, right? So it's all the same. It's all relative, right? Whether you do this 15 yards downfield or 8 yards downfield. Yes, 8 yards easier. I realize that. But this is the clear-cut difference between the two breaks. You see, I want you to see how violent he is with his steps here, like how violent he is with his feet, and look how low he's getting. This is how you decelerate right here, right? This is what a lot of people don't get. A lot of people think that I just got to step super hard. I got to kind of just slowly sink my hips into each break. That's not how you decelerate. That's not how you drop into something. How you drop into something is getting to this position right here, this explosive position. Your chin's going to your knee. You're violent with your hips. That's how we decelerate. There's no other way to do it when you're running full speed, because a lot of guys will try to do this. They'll step super hard, but their chest will be straight up. They're leaning straight back, and you're not going to create any energy that way. The goal is to create energy at the top of the break, not to slow down. But also at the end of the day, we are slowing down. We're coming to a deceleration, but we're using this right here, this explosive position, to shoot me back to the ball. So it's all relative. Like I said, you got to sell vertical. Only way I drop, only way I change direction selling vertical is by being explosive and violent with my hips, getting to this position like I talked about, chin to your knee, violent hips, powerful steps that create energy. And then that energy that you created here is what shoots you back to the ball. It's all the same. All three of them go together, right? You're not going to be able to run full speed, have a crappy break, and then have explosion back to the ball. You got to be able to run full speed, have an explosive break, and that's what gives you that acceleration back to the ball. So that's a great job here by Judy. Like, you could just tell the difference. Like, look at the break. So you want to look at the break here from Pittman and just kind of like, it's just not as violent, right? Now we look at the break here from Judy at the top of the route. So much more violent. There's so much more explosion there. And that's what you guys need to do. That's what I'm trying to shoot for you guys at the top of the break. Got to be violent with your feet, violent with your hips. That's how you stop yourself on a curl route. On any kind of route where you break down, that should be your mindset, right? Now, how do you improve that? There are different situations that you guys, like a lot of people, you can't, some guys can because they have it. They just don't know the technique where you could just go out on the field and just do that. Just constantly think about, okay, I'm going to be more violent, then you're more violent. And something that you could train over and over and over again. But what about the guys who maybe aren't as explosive, right? That's why we have these things that we offer, like a gym program, right? There's specific exercises to improve your explosion. There's specific exercises to make you more of an explosive and powerful athlete within that program, like we talked about in the very beginning of this video. So I highly recommend doing that kind of stuff, like box jumps, explosive work. That's all the stuff that we have in there, but specifically tailor-made towards receivers, right? So that's something that you guys should be able to do, something that you guys need to do to translate onto the field play. Not a lot of people know what I mean when I say that is like, oh, these exercises translate to on the field play. A lot of people don't think that. A lot of people don't think that way because they don't understand what goes into actually running a good route, what goes into making an explosive break, all the ankle stability, knee stability, all that stuff. That's what's focused on in that specific gym program as well. You know what I mean? I know I'm talking a little bit too much about that, but those are the exercises that guys need to do when maybe they don't have that already explosiveness, fast twitch that a lot of people develop. But yes, 100% that's something that can be trained. Let's watch this route here from Judy one more time. Great example of being violent with your hips, the explosion you got to have at the top of the break to be able to get out of a curl efficiently. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to leave those in the comments below. And like I said, ultimate wide receiver training package, 1 month gym training program, full 28 days, 4 weeks of specific exercises in the gym, on the field, rest days, recovery days, all the above for wide receivers specifically, and a step-by-step guide to improve your entire game at the wide receiver position. Very first link in the description. Hope we get you guys on that soon. I'll see you guys next time.